It seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that.
But you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. We have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative.
Boy, is that the truth. That's the socialist regulatory state, been running this country for way too long. And both Trump and Musk are doing the right thing. Join us to talk about it, Miranda Devine, ace New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor. Miranda writes to the first 4 or 5 pages of the New York Post on a daily basis. And Emily Compagno, co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News and author of Under His Wings. Ladies, welcome. Let's just start with this. Miranda, the basic thrust here, the Democrats are basically defending the bureaucracy, defending the regulators, and opposing all these audits of fraud and opposing anything that reduces federal spending. They love the bureaucracy. What kind of message is that?
I think it just tells everybody, including their voters, that they are corrupt to the core. They're defending their slush funds to the death. They're defending the bureaucracy, the slush funds, the corruption, the waste and abuse above anything else that they've ever cared about. They never cared about the victims of illegal migration, et cetera, et cetera. And I think Americans look at that and go, hang on, where are your priorities?
I think, Emily, you know, if you polled, I mean, there probably are polls. Do you want to shrink the size of government? Is the government too big? Does it regulate too much? It's like an 80-20 issue, and the Democrats are on the 20% side. I don't understand how they can be so utterly stupid.
And obtuse. You know, we heard today, for example, and a lot of our elected officials whose salaries we pay standing on the street corner shouting about how the president has started forcibly removing people from government when that particular issue couldn't be further from the truth because he gave the choice, right? What kills me in addition to that knee-jerk resistance is how it has infiltrated to activist judges. So I'm curious to the point of not only defending that ridiculous spending, the opacity of the government that our tax dollars totally fund, but also blocking why do we want biological males in biological female prisons? Why do our taxpayer dollars pay for contraceptives in all-female prisons? The root of these questions are totally clear on the moral front, and yet for some reason that resistance goes toe-to-toe on that line, defending every dollar and defending, again, that radical extremist view that I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, November 5th sent that mandate that we don't want it anymore.
USAID has found giving money, sending money to terrorist groups, okay? We know that. It was uncovered in the Elon Musk audit. Now, who the heck is going to defend that? I don't know. I want to move on to other stuff, but Democrats are essentially defending it. They don't want USAID to be dismantled. They don't want it to be reduced in force. They're defending it. How can you defend that?
They lie about it and pretend that it's about feeding starving children in Biafra or something.
Oh, my God. Starving children in Biafra.
Well, and they also resist the intelligence that has been out there for quite some time, pointing out that we've been funding the Taliban for years, right? To millions and millions per week, and continued even after we paused USAID or foreign spending. We are still funding $43 million per week to the Taliban. So they are the closed eyes and ears there go far beyond simply dollar for dollar.
Miranda, Mr. Trump is stripping the security clearances for Joe Biden, for his former Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken. But what interests me particularly, he's stripping them here in New York for Letitia James and Alvin Bragg. That means they can't enter their federal clearance is stopped. Now, that's pretty tough stuff. What do you make of it?
It is. And look, in a way, it's a symbolic slap in the face to the two of them, and I think possibly a prelude of things to come, because what they did to Donald Trump, their lawfare that they engineered against him during the campaign, was so politicised and so dishonest and corrupt that you can't just let it go. It's not a matter of vengeance, it's a matter of a reckoning. And so I think this is just a signal to them that, hey, You know, there's more to come down the
Two can
pike.
play at this game. Two can play at this game. He's
Exactly.
absolutely right. I mean, weaponization is out of favor right now. They can't go into federal courthouses, okay? Let them just, put that in their pipe and smoke something.
I mean, because the reality is that these are state actors who campaigned on prosecuting an individual that is a former president that is now the current president. So to your point, you reap what you sow. And there's no definite access to the federal clearance. That's a privilege, not a right. So absolutely, should we find an actor to be so deeply swayed and frankly insidious, so antithetical to upholding the Constitution blindly without favor or fear of any party, well, that's not those two. So yeah, that's what happens.
By the way, I don't know if you love geography and reading maps as much as I do, but I was just skimming through the Google Map service just the other day, and I think we have a full screen of what I just found. Take a look at this. Oh my! Is it up on the? We can't really see it in there. There you can see it on the teleprompter. What does that say? That says Gulf of America, Miranda. Gulf of America. What do you make of that?
I love it. I just think it shows that President Trump, his word is our command. And there you go, Gulf of America. I think it's a proud thing to say. I'm a little disappointed that Google Maps is still leaving it as Gulf of Mexico in Mexico and leaving it for the rest of the world. It's giving them a choice, saying Gulf of America / Mexico. I think that's a bit of a cop-out.
Emily, I hate to give this one to you, but President Trump told the New York Post he's not going to deport poor Prince Harry. Says he's already has enough problems with his wife. She's terrible.
Oh, my goodness.
Thought on that? That's unfair of me to put that out there. But apparently, it's almost unanimous that she's terrible.
I also feel like the heaven on earth that is Santa Barbara, aside from California politics, at least he's got that going for him. I do feel badly for him.
He was funny, though, because he sort of didn't want to answer that
This was
question.
in your interview.
Yeah, and I just threw it out there because I knew that it would go around the world, and it did. Sure enough, he goes, no, leave them alone. He was trying to be kind.
He's lifting the federal prosecution of Mayor Eric Adams here in New York.
Yes.
All right. Why is he doing that? And quid pro quo, and Eric Adams becoming a Republican?
Look, I think it's again about weaponization. Whether or not Eric Adams genuinely was a victim of lawfare, it certainly looked like that. As soon as he spoke up against the illegal migrant crisis and went to the federal government, to Joe Biden, and demanded extra money, suddenly you've got his staff and then he himself being indicted. So it certainly looked fishy. And obviously, Donald Trump's acting Attorney General, Emil Bove, has looked at the case and decided that it didn't have any merit. It's a favour, obviously, to Eric Adams, and let's hope that the New Yorkers get something out of it in way of, lowered crime.
Electorally.
Electorally. Well, electorally as well as everything
And Emily,
else.
just last one. I want to give you the spirit question. It's just still been a few weeks. I'm prepared to argue the spirit of the country, the culture of the country, the economics of the country, the foreign policy of the country, everything has changed in just a couple of weeks. It's most remarkable.
It is, considering that I think we take in stride, especially historically, how easy destruction is and how difficult it is to restore. And so I feel so heartened at this rapid pace, because it does feel like restoration is happening quickly. Within that, it goes to that topic of the charges against Mayor Adams, which, reminder, the argument in the pleading was that it interferes with his ability to tackle the illegal immigration problem. And then we have critics on the other side saying New Yorkers deserve better. They need to have their mayor held accountable for this corruption. But as a New Yorker, what I deserve is to have the illegal immigrant and crime situation nipped in the bud, and for the mayor to be let alone so that he can tackle the problems that my tax dollars pay for, or that I don't want them to pay for.
Maybe he's getting rewarded for that. Maybe he's getting, or it's an incentive, and we can all take a good hard shower. I mean, I like that the most. Thank you to Miranda, Devine, and Emily Compagno. Terrific ladies. Thank you ever so much. All right, folks, you can catch Emily on Outnumbered, along with her co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany, weekdays, 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox News.